can do. Okay, so if you have any questions on what you need to do, please let me know. Please holler at me on liking and sharing and all that good stuff. Yeah, yeah. You can actually do it that way.
Do it, do it. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's gonna
Gotcha.
tell you not to, but you can
Okay.
do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Trust me.
All right.
I've did it so many times. It's
I
like
got you.
whatever. So
All
yeah.
right. Good deal.
So you're good now.
All right.
Ooh, I
Perfect.
look good. I look
You
better
look
than
good,
him
right?
now. Okay. So go ahead. So tell us mainly. Okay. So let's say I just got my income tax
Right.
and I want to invest in mutual.
Sure. 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 Sure.
What would be a good mutual fund, or what would be the good thing that I should do when it comes to investing in stuff like that?
Right. So, well, the first thing I always want a person to do is actually have the ability to share and take stock of where they are, financially. So that investing may not be the thing for you in that respect at that particular point. So it really depends on what you have and what your game plan is for the year.
Okay.
So if your game plan for the year is to you need to make a new purchase, like if you need a vehicle because it's going to help you with your career, your entrepreneurship and whatnot. So you need to
yeah.
be working on that,
Yeah.
and then build a plan around that short term goal as it relates to you getting somewhere else you want to be. So
That's true.
I really believe in phases of strategies of using what you have now, not spending it, but actually basically replanning it and allowing it to grow into whatever it is that you really want on the other side of that. So
Yeah.
what that one of the what that requires though is delayed gratification. And so that's
Now that right there,
yeah, that's the hard that's the hardest part.
That
of
right there
Yeah.
with black folks.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that delayed
Yeah.
gratification
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's what it
That's
is.
tough.
You
Yeah.
gotta wait.
Yeah.
You gotta wait.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
be patient on some things.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking about this actually.
Can only choose
Strangely, I was listening to a book and it was talking about creating habits and retraining your mind to go and take on different habits or better habits that you want to go.
Yeah.
And it spoke to how
So while
your emotional intelligence actually ties into your ability to be successful. And
Wow.
the reason being that when you take an emotionally intelligent response to a lot of situations, primarily stressful situations whereby you're actually you're in the most natural state of response,
Right,
when you're in a
right,
stressful situation. Stopping and retraining your mind to actually respond in alignment with your values takes discipline. There's a major level of discipline. So you bring that over to thinking about accomplishing your goals or having a bigger goal or trying to get to a place or you having a vision of your mind of what you want to be. And so many people name and claim things, but what have you done to walk it out?
wow.
And so the ability to delay gratification is tied to your emotional intelligence in the respect that they both require self-discipline and belief that it is worth waiting for the thing that you're trying to accomplish to get to.
Right, right.
And I think that also allows you to make better decisions when it comes to making purchases, because if you have to train yourself to delay receiving something that you find value in, it will be worth the journey. If it's not worth the journey, then you'll see that as well and you'll make different decisions the next time, because now you're like, okay, what I'm about to go purchase, is it really of value to me? Is it really bringing value to my life in a real sense, in a long-term sense? And if you get into the habit of actually planning out those purchases, you actually are more deliberate in making those purchases and saying, okay, am I really going to care about this a year from now? Am I going to really care about this 2 years from now, as
Yeah.
opposed to planning this money into learning, getting an education to where I can
Right.
grow that money, and now you planted it in the soil that will continue to reproduce, as opposed to saying, well, no, I went and bought, I went and threw a big blowout birthday party, when if I would have just waited one more year, I could have had the big blowout party and I still would have had a sack of cash over here because I learned how to create it.
So is
anyway.
it worth the wait?
Yeah, is it worth the
Is
wait? And
it
that's
worth
a
the wait?
personal choice. And I think if it's a value, it is worth the wait. You know what I mean? Most
If
things
it's
of
a
value,
value.
most things of true value are worth the wait, or worth the sacrifice of not reaching it because I want something right now. And
Right.
it's really about is what you're about to delay your journey. The thing for which you're about to delay your journey, is it worth the wait? Is it worth you giving up some time to get to where you really want to be, because you want to do this thing right here? That's really the question. It's like,
Man.
the right now versus the latter end.
And so usually when you think about it, you go, okay, the right now gratification always hashes out quickly.
Sure,
It's
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
it feels good for,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a
yeah,
quick
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I should have waited. I should have did this. I should have did that. But
Yeah.
then long term,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think because long term is, everybody says they want money. Everybody
I
says they want,
know.
I want
Yeah.
$1 million in the bank.
Yeah.
And let me speak to that because
Yeah.
I
Please
want to
do.
speak.
Please do.
I want to
Please
speak
do.
to really whatever you choose to do, whatever path you go, you walk this year, and you start off the year saying, I want to do this financially. I want people to just think about the paradigm of saving, investing, and then having that money for some future date. Let's think about people who, let's say a person is making $40 an hour. That's about $80,000 a year, give or take. Okay. Now, the national average is less than, it's about half of that, as far as income in households. Yeah, it's about $48,000, I think.
Is an average?
Is the median, is the national average income, I think, as of like 2017 or something like that.
Oh
I'll
my
fact check
gosh.
that and get that out, but I'm sure it's close to that number. But to that point, let's say I'm just gonna do you one better and say you bring $80,000 worth of skills to the table. Matter of fact, we're gonna say you bring $100,000 plus of skills to the table, so you're making at least $50 an hour. That's what that equates to an hourly rate. So no overtime, but about 100,000 give or take is about $50 an hour. Just trust me on that. Okay.
Who makes $50 an hour?
Right,
Y'all
right.
better be
So
listening.
that's the question. Okay, so so I'm gonna do this, and you can have your honest conversation with yourself about where you are, because that's not our business until you make it our business to help you. But so I'm gonna start with $50 an hour, and whatever side of that you're on, you can make your own determination. But $100,000 a year in retirement, what it would take. And I'm not even going to talk about what it takes to save up $1 million in 30 or 40 years or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And now you have to look at, okay, where am I in my life, and do I have 30, 40 years to create $1 million?
Right.
Okay, so that's one side note for you to keep on the table.
Yeah.
But then secondly, you get there and you get to whatever phase of your life. People don't talk about retirement as much, but when you're not going to be hopefully doing the same thing you're doing today in most cases 40 years from now.
Right.
Because you're either physically or mentally or whatever not able to do it.
Right.
Okay, so let's plan for that transition. So you need $100,000 in today's money to live at least as well as you're living right now. It takes $1 million. Actually, it takes $2 million at 5% tax-free. So that's net of taxes. You would have to earn 5% on that money every year to create $100,000 income. So let's first look at the point that you need $2 million 40 years from now. And so what are you doing today to get you there? Because that's the equivalent of really saving a whole salary, to get to that number. So if you're really honest with yourself about where you are and what your journey is, just because you're stocking a little here and a little there, it doesn't mean that you're actually getting anywhere. You may actually be slowing yourself down. So first thing you have to do is take stock of where you are and what it would take to create the income that you need. And if you don't have a plan to where you're going to hit $2 million in X amount of years from now to be able to live off tax-free, or net of taxes 100,000, that's 5%. Just think about that. That's $100,000 a year. Where are you going to create that?
Wow,
That's the tragedy, and that's the true
of the situation.
exactly. That's the gravity of it. So it's not about just talking about what we can do for you. I need you to understand where you need help first, and assess. That's the assessment. So when you talk about what to do with it, let's see where you are, and then we can get in the car and go where we're trying to go. So, but I definitely believe that you need a way to create income for yourself, and it's not necessarily doing ride sharing, all that, because damaging your vehicle and only getting a portion of the profits. You have to find something that is not going to make you trade an inordinate amount of time for your dollars. You need to be able to learn a thing that can create some semblance of either a bill or a mortgage or paying off a debt, that you can create the money to do that, and ultimately systematically work yourself out of debt, and then continually grow your wealth at the same time, and do that in a way that's really reasonable, and you can do it in less than 40 years. That's what you have to be thinking, where is that?
So you're saying that in order for me to do that, I would have to create something that's going to duplicate itself in order to make me money.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need something that can create money to a magnitude or a 10 or 2, 3, 4, 5x of the hours that you can work on a job. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
you know, so
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, if you make $400 for a day's work, you need something that you can
That's
put in
really
hours work in and
right.
create $400 in a day
Right.
or a week or
Right.
whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
that's where you have to get to the mindset of leveraging your
Wow.
time to create
Wow.
more dollars. You know,
Yeah.
and
Oh, you
yeah,
gotta say that
yeah,
again.
yeah. You got to get to to the mindset of leveraging your time to create more dollars. You know,
Leverage
because
your time to make more dollars.
that's right.
You guys, that's tweetable. Leverage your time to make more dollars. So let's make that practical.
Yeah.
Let's make that an example. Leverage your time. So if I'm on a job from 8 to 5 and I get a salary because I work hourly, how am I supposed to maximize that?
Yeah, you won't.
You can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You
You won't.
cannot.
Yeah, you're on that.
I'm not saying
proverbial-
quit your job.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm
absolutely
just
not.
saying, when you really think about it, and you work 9 to 5, and they pay you per hour,
Yeah,
how are you going to make more money?
Yes.
Because, well, unless you get a promotion.
yeah, yeah. But you're still in the phase of trading your time for dollars. And
Right,
as your
right.
responsibility and as the raises go up, they want the same or more time from you. So it's not
Right.
like, I mean, they're leveraging your time for them, you know. And so
Ooh.
and it's okay because it's an agreement. So there's an exchange, but you have to understand there comes a point at which it's no longer valuable for you to continue to be promoted or get more money because what they require of you is not proportionate to what you're getting out of the situation. You know what I
Right,
mean? And
right.
so that's why you need something to where even as you go in there and let's say you're getting those promotions, you need a vehicle by which you could have done a little bit of work before you went to work. And then you could be piggybacking. That's how you leverage the time for dollars is that you go and create that money how you know how to create it, but you learn another way to create it that's creating money alongside you
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
So now
Right.
the value that 1 hour of your work created one time is
Right.
really worth twice as much.
Yeah.
Now, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's how you leverage your time for more money.
Okay, so we're not okay. So a lot of people call it side hustles. Okay,
yeah.
but we're not gonna call it a hustle.
Yeah, right. There you
because
go.
a hustle is a struggle.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
good.
we're gonna call it a stream of income.
There you go.
So it's beneficial to you when you have second and third or whatever streams of income alongside of your 8 to 5 or your 9 to 5 or whatever. So, okay, so let's rewind. Those of you who are just logging on, we're talking about money today. And I know this is very crucial right now. Some of you guys got your income tax checks, and some of you got paid yesterday. So we've got an expert here that can talk to you about your money. And how long have you been an entrepreneur? How long
Oh
have
man,
you
that's a
been
very
in
good
the
question.
game?
Yeah, well, I've been in financial services for about 20 years, actually 17, 18 years to be exact. 18
Yeah.
years. I got into the business right after September 11th, 2001. I was actually working for Merrill Lynch, and yeah, so I got into the business with a great company at a bad time. You know, but honestly, it was actually probably the best thing that happened to me because I had to learn how to. And if there's questions, that's great. We can maybe
That's
get
what I'm
some of
saying.
those.
If anybody
But-
got any questions, let me know.
but I had to learn how to think about growing wealth and finance differently because at that time nobody was really looking to invest. Obviously,
Right,
I mean,
right.
so I get in. The Twin Towers has just done what they did, and
Man.
so nobody's doing anything. You
nobody
know,
trying to do
yeah.
nothing.
So I got in and got into my career, and I had to go and find different ways to create value for relationships.
Right.
And so my first year in the business, I actually did millions of dollars of mortgage business because that was a division that was something that was offered through the company,
Wow.
Merrill Lynch, that I was working for. And so so I see how the rich get richer as well.
Wow.
Because what I was doing, I was bringing value to a clientele that already had money. And so now I'm offering them LIBOR-based loans, and people who don't know what a LIBOR-based loan is or a LIBOR interest rate, it's called the London Interbank Offertory Rate. So it's like a bank-to-bank rate exchange to where it's very, very low. So people were refinancing these $500,000, $1 million houses for like 1%. I mean, legit, like for real, like 1% is what they were paying. So they were basically getting a loan for free.
Are y'all
And so
listening to that?
when there's a challenge, there's always an opportunity, and that's where I learned that you take take these challenges as opportunities to learn something new. And so that when I started my own company, my very first company, Jefferson Capital Partners, back in 2005, I was always looking for that next thing. And so as a consequence, I helped a lot of clients of mine avoid, millions of dollars of losses in the 2008 crisis.
Yeah, the crash.
Yeah, because we were doing different things. And so we were not necessarily in the stock market, as it were, where we were still making money. And so that's how I ended up with Forex, is I was just looking and always kind of had my sensors out. And it found me, and I learned it. It took me a long time to learn it, but now that's where we focus our energy, and we help people use that to create an income for themselves. And so I would say the one thing I can say with definitiveness, no matter if I've met you or not, is that you should invest in your education. So that's what you do with your refund check. And that's what you do, because that's an investment that will last.
Okay, now you say education.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Okay,
Because I can go back to school.
Great question. So if you got student loans, you don't need to be going back to school. That's the first thing, all right? Probably not. Unless it's going to get you to a level of earning an income right now that's going to replace what you paid in debt, and that's normally IT or something like that, and most people aren't going into IT. So when I say education, I'm thinking more in the mindset of what I think there's so much less of today is a trade school type mentality, and now I'm not saying to go to auto mechanic school, but our company literally just rolled out a Forex family of courses, and so we started with Forex for Dads, and so the whole premise was to show dads how they can fully support their family, how to teach the foreign exchange, so they can fully support their family, replace work income, and regain more time to enjoy being a dad. And so it's like, and so no matter whatever situation.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Did you guys hear that? Say it again.
Yeah, Forex for Dads.
Forex for Dads. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Forex, because I know you probably heard the Forex word and what that means. We'll get into that. Okay.
Yeah. So we started there because I felt like, if the men, and me coming from a Christian background and being a Christian, was that if we could get the men to realign in the sense of, hey, you can make the money to support your family. Even people who are making a lot of money don't have a lot of time, and if you don't have a lot of time and not a lot of money, that's even worse. So you need to find a way out of that. And so we said, if we can get dads to replace work income and not have to work a second job, and I was talking to a guy yesterday who just took on a second job, and get them back to where they can spend time where it really counts, which is in the nuclear family piece, and whether you're divorced, whether you just you're co-parenting, whether you got a full family structure, whatever it is, the dad is still necessary to be a part of that equation. And some people have child support, so you need some way to get out from under that child support, whatever. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. And so if we could create a situation whereby men could learn how to trade the foreign exchange, which is and I'm giving you really, I'm sharing the game with you in a way that I did not have the benefit of anyone else. I figured it all out, and then now I've taken that information, simplified it, and made it to where people can they can fast track their success, straight line their success without all the bumps and bruises and the financial losses that I took to get there. And so to the point of it's coming back, but to the point of these other ones still going.
That's all right.
So to the point of doing that with dads, and then I wanted to expand it because everybody can benefit. So we've got Forex for moms, of course, and then we've got Forex for her and Forex for him. So if you're not a dad, I don't want you to think, or a mom, that you can't benefit from this, because if you're a college student and you're racking up student loan debt, you can have that paid off by the time you get out of school. If you got a business that you've launched and the big issue is capital, then you can learn how to trade to create capital for your business. You know what I mean? And so I'm about like Forex for life. That's really what it's about. It's not just about making money. It's about creating meaningful outcomes, by using it for purpose. So we rolled that out. The website, by the way, now
we gotta have that website.
Proud plug, not shameless plug. Proud plug is you can go to
right here.
forexfam.com. So forexfam.com. Forexfam. You can go there, and the courses are $897. But anybody who mentions Mona Lisa, we can actually do. We can offer it to you at $400 off. So $497.
Oh, wow.
So you can invest in your education, learn how to trade for $497 one time, no ongoing fees. For life, you have access to anything I do and grow in this business. I actually send trade when you're ready and you've learned the way that we trade. You're in a part of our private chat where I send live trades that I'm personally taking to you so that you can take it and be successful faster. I'm here to coach you, but you self-paced learn it, because some people work at night. So we've got students who they can only do it at night at 2:00 in the morning. Some people do it at 8. so the point is, we're trying to put you in position to take charge of your life.
Yeah.
Take back charge of your financial life.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So I'm going to let you explain Forex. One of our live connections
Okay.
is doing that. So I'm
Okay.
going to let you explain
Okay.
Forex
All right.
while I fix that.
All right, good
Okay.
deal. All right. So the foreign exchange is at one point, not maybe just maybe 20 years ago, was a bank-to-bank exchange. So basically, banks traded with each other, and they offered money and lent money to each other. Nobody really were traded against other currencies, and that's not a big deal. But at the turn of the basically 1999 to 2000, what happened was technology got to a point to where Forex brokers or intermediaries came into the play, to where now they opened up the retail market, which gave exposure to people like you and I.
Okay.
And so now retail traders can trade with Forex brokers, and the Forex brokers are still trading with the banks, and all you're doing is trading small disparities in the value of currency. So if the euro is worth $1.13 today, like all the way to maybe the fifth decimal right side of the penny, that they're trading that. They're trading those little small movements for millions of dollars. Because it's leverage. So you have the ability to control hundreds of thousands of dollars with like a $10,000 or $1,000 or $5,000 account. That's not the point, but you control so much more, and that's why it's different than the stock exchange.
Right.
Is because a dollar, you have to make 100% on a dollar to make another dollar. But in foreign exchange, all you have to make is, because you have the power of maybe $10, you actually maybe only have to make a tenth of that to get the same result in forex. So
Okay.
so it's the leverage principle, which is it can be dangerous as well as beneficial, which is why you need to be educated and you need to be guided by someone who does that for a living.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunities are endless,
Right.
but you have to know who to connect with,
Sure.
to walk you through it, because the Forex game, you heard it, you heard about it, you heard horrible things,
Sure.
and then you hear great things.
Right.
So I'm here to bring the expert to sort of say, okay, what's the good and the bad?
Absolutely.
Because you want to be educated.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you say the bad things
Yeah.
about Forex?
Well, I think that the Forex is just like the internet. Okay,
It's good and
well,
it's bad.
it is what it is. So we bring our characteristics to it, and then it shows us who we are, and then we call it good or bad. You know what I mean? So
wow.
so if I come to Forex with a greedy mindset and thinking, well, I'm going to make $1 million this year off $100,
Wow.
that's a lottery mindset. So that's a lotto-based mindset. You're trying to hit a lot off a little, and then you get upset if it doesn't work out for you. And so you got two issues. You got, first of all, you don't have the patience for the process, but then secondly, you have an accountability issue too, because you can't be honest with yourself that everything you do or don't do is really it's based on you.
It's based on
Yeah.
you.
So I say that the downside of Forex is that leverage can be very good, but when you press it and don't use it properly or don't know how to use it, it can destroy you.
It can destroy
and so
you.
I'm going to give you a real example of something that happened with my company.
Okay.
About it. Well, actually, 2 years ago, we started a new program. We had a program in place called the Partnership Plan, and this is the plan where we actually trade for people, because there are a lot of people who just say, "Hey, we'll open an
I
account."
trust you.
Yeah, you're right. Now you don't give us the money.
Take
You
this
fund your
money and
account.
go.
Yeah, but we got a way to technology to attach your account to ours, and we trade for you in exchange for profit sharing.
Yeah.
But with that being said, one of my former business partners had offered that we need to start something for the small person that has more of an aggressive nature to it, and so we had the partnership plan that was consistently cranking out 3 to 5% a month, and that's pretty good,
That's really good.
And I had really gotten the screws tightened down on that and knew that very well.
Wow.
And so we started the Seed Accelerator, which has been overhauled, and it's more than 2.0. It's 10.0 now. We started back, and it's doing very well now.
Oh, wow.
But we had some hiccups. We started off, had about good 6 months, 7 probably months of great returns, and then we just the nature of it, we saw some things that it couldn't withstand the what caused drawdown. So when your account is still in the negative, it gets to a point to where you have to close out positions to keep it going. So we had a major blow up, and I had to go back and be introspective, because although I'd done the work on this one couldn't withstand the same conditions. It was
Right.
like having a cruise liner and a fast boat out in the ocean, or a jet,
Oh,
or a
yeah,
small
yeah.
pontoon boat, whatever.
Right.
So one is more nimble and it can move more quickly, but it wasn't prepared to endure the tidal waves,
Uh-huh.
that may occur,
Right,
in the
right.
ocean, as opposed to a cruise liner is not as nimble and it moves slower, but it can withstand a little bit more in the way of the weather.
True.
And so I had to find a way to make this more durable, and we did that. But the bottom line is, the downside was we earned a lesson, but we earn that lesson so that our students can be better, and that the
Yeah,
people
you
that we
have
trade
to.
for can be
Yeah,
better.
you have to.
So the risk is that you can. I mean, it's an investment, and so you have to treat it as such. It's not this get rich
Now,
quick.
see,
And if
it's not a get rich quick.
if it takes you 5 years, I would say if it took you 5 years to create a six-figure income, a consistent, repeatable six-figure income for yourself, would it be worth it? That's the question. I mean,
Yeah.
and then and not only just the income, but you have to couple that with the time that you get back.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, because you don't
can't
you don't
pay for that.
right, and you don't work Forex 8 hours like a job, because
Right.
it's actually detrimental to you the more time you spend in front of your screen. It's called screen fatigue. It actually can work against you. So
Wow.
you're the way we teach people how to trade is we teach you to plan out your week.
Uh-huh.
You take a couple of trades, or you follow a couple of our trades, and they're supposed to last for several days. And so, and some of them come quickly, and you get your returns. But the point is, we teach you to do what you do and then go on about your life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what you have
the
to learn.
key. Just do what you do and then go about your life.
Absolutely.
So Forex. Okay, so we went over the downside of Forex.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the good side
Right.
of Forex.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, now I can go on and on about this, but the good
Especially
side
the
of it,
good side.
yeah. Well, the good side is because it truly does create you. It becomes, for lack of a better phrase, like an ATM machine. But
Right.
you have the code to it, and you can go and create that pretty much at will. And so you can do it with the proper level of risk management, to where now, if you have a $1,000 issue or a challenge, now you have the wherewithal to actually go and maybe create that $1,000 in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, or a day, depending on whatever certain circumstances. You have the wherewithal now to create the money and handle that issue.
Right.
But more importantly, it teaches you discipline. It teaches you about yourself. It teaches you that you don't have to trade your time for dollars in the way that you conventionally
And that's
have
the
thought
deal.
about it.
You have this 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and you're working, like you said, trading time for dollars.
Yeah.
But then when you do trading and you do Forex, you can do a little something
Absolutely.
and take off
Yeah.
and still make. Okay, so let's talk about the potential.
Okay.
Let's talk about the money.
Yeah, the money. So yeah,
What would that? What does that look like?
Okay.
I know y'all want to know.
Well, I mean, it always, and I'm glad we focus on the down, because if you can handle the downside, then the upside is
It's
limitless.
like,
It's
whew.
limitless. So,
Yeah.
so the goal is you could legitimately, I would say $10,000 in my mind could conceivably turn to $1 million in about 60 months, and legitimately do that. I mean,
Okay.
so 10,000 to $1 million in 5 years.
$10,000, $10,000 can turn into $1 million in 60 months.
Correct. And so obviously I have to put the disclaimer that nothing is guaranteed. Not everything is for
Right.
everyone.
Right.
Everything isn't suitable for everybody, and it's not guaranteed. But this is a realistic case and
But
scenario.
these are the ups. No,
Right.
right.
Yeah, this
it's
is
not for
realistic.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Trading is not for everybody,
Right.
because, like we were saying earlier,
Yeah, you got to be.
It's for the strong.
Yeah, you got to be able to handle it. It's a roller coaster sometimes.
It's a roller coaster.
But with that being said, you can legitimately, in the time that it would take a person to pay off a car.
Yeah.
So let's say this. Yeah, you put $2,000 down. Let's just go back to like real. I always want Forex to be like, I call it Forex for life. I want it to be real life stuff.
Right.
So let's say most people put down $500 to $1,000 on a car. Okay. Let's say you put down $1,000 on a car. So most car notes now are going up to 72 months. Because that's how expensive cars are.
Right.
But let's say you've got a 5-year
Give me
loan on
some
a
time
car.
on this thing.
So you've already taken out a 5-year loan on the depreciating asset, which is already another conversation that needs to be had
Right.
about doing that. Particularly if you don't have the means to pay cash for it. But the $1,000 you put down on that car, and by the time you paid it off, you could have legitimately created in excess of $100,000 in that same 5 years and paid cash for it. So that gets back to the same conversation we had earlier about delayed gratification.
Right.
So why don't you create a means to get you to work, to do what you need to do,
Right.
and floss less, save more. You know what I mean?
Floss less and
save more. You know, and
Yeah,
so then,
yeah.
and then so. In the time you would have been paying off a car looking for a trade-in, because most people don't get through their car notes because they get sick of them, or they get behind on them, and so they get rid of them. I mean, let's be real, or they just they're worn out and they say, oh, I had a my something happened with my engine, or something happened, I need new tires, so now I need a new car because I don't want to deal with. So like the crazy mindset sometimes is, I don't want to deal with having to put new tires on my car, so I'm going to go out and create another $40,000 loan because I don't want to pay $400 for my car. I mean,
Wow.
So you got to first of all check your mindset, check your thinking.
You know what? Let's stay there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's the mindset.
Absolutely.
It's the mindset. What kind of mindset do you have to have in order to even get this?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
so in our course, we I really focus on positive mental attitude. That's really one of the first lessons that we teach, is to get you. I call them the 2 commandments of being a successful trader. And the first one is going from believing to knowing. And so you got to go from believing that something can work to knowing that it will work and does work.
Okay.
And so we kind of take you through the whole setup is to get you into the mindset of understanding that you have, just like you could take a life experience, whether it's spiritual or otherwise, and you had an experience that at one point you may have doubted, or like, okay, I think this works,
Right.
and then you have a definitive moment, say, okay, I know this works.
Right.
And now when you're encountered with the same scenario or the same challenge or a similar challenge, you don't look at it the same as you hopefully did in the past. You look at it in a different way and expect a different or better outcome.
Right.
And so we teach you how to go from believing not only in yourself, but believing that the path that you're on works, to knowing it works, so that way you see it through. And then secondly, we call it going from blaming to claiming. So you go from blaming other people for your tragic circumstances. You go from blaming the person that didn't pay you back your money. You go from blaming yourself, for not going with your first mind. You go from blaming somebody that you trusted to do something for you and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And you have to say, you know what, I made all of those decisions. You have, as a
Hold
trader,
yourself accountable.
absolutely, and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And so as a trader, you have to hold yourself accountable for the trades that you take, the trades you don't take, whatever. And,
Right.
and so the quicker you come to terms with, hey, I am responsible for everything that happens or doesn't happen in my financial life,
Wow.
you actually regain and reclaim your power. And so now you walk into circumstances from an expectation of commanding it as opposed to it commanding you. And so that's where we want you to take authority over your lives, and that's where the mindset shift has to come into play. With you don't go and trade in your time for the same amount of dollars. You need to leverage your time for more dollars. But you have to first understand the value of who you are, because we're all our own best asset. I call it You Incorporated. You're the most important and most valuable company you will ever have access to. You Incorporated are the most valuable company you will ever own, ever have. And so your goal should be to conduct as much continuing education, as much growth, as much you need to be investing in You Incorporated as much as you can, so that you can have the best outcome and produce the most fruit, and that starts with your mind, and and it comes with taking personal responsibility, and there's no getting around that.
So the education part, when we were talking about what to do with your money, the first thing you would want to do is educate yourself.
Absolutely.
And the thing was, how do you educate yourself about your money?
Sure.
What type of,
There are a lot of, technology has made it to where you can go pretty much anywhere and learn the basics and get a broad-based education. As it relates to Forex, I normally send people to a website called babypips.com.
Okay.
Because it's a free site, and it teaches you the kind of it gives you the broad-based the core courses, as if you think about a university,
Right.
and then coming to our class gives you that's your major. You know what I mean? That's where
Okay,
where you
I like
learn your
that.
major,
I
and
like
you get how to do the things that you did.
Yeah.
So, but as far as finance, you can go online now and find any decent website. And I'll get the names of those out maybe so you can publish them to people.
Yeah.
But so you can
we'll get that to y'all.
Yeah, but you first of all, you got to kind of think, okay, what do I want? It doesn't even have to be that difficult.
Okay.
Start with yourself and say, okay, what do I want? And sometimes it's easier to say, okay, what do I not want? and reflect on what you've been through financially, what you've been through relationally, what you've been through personally, whatever, and say, okay, what do I not want for myself in this
I don't want
birth
to
year?
be broke.
Right, exactly. And if you don't want that, then what are you doing right now to counteract that? And it doesn't have to be totally sacrificing everything about your life, but now you can go to, instead of eating out 5 days a week, I need to find a way to leverage that money, because it's so expensive when you go get $100 grocery bill. But is it not expensive to have a $100 one-time meal bill or a $50 one-time meal bill?
Yeah.
I mean, that's expensive because that's a one-time deal.
Right.
And you know you got to do that again tomorrow.
Right.
So you have to readjust your thinking to say, okay, well, I owe myself this, I owe myself that. You do owe it to yourself, but only after you've done the work to make it a prize. So treat yourself for meeting certain milestones and reshape your discipline to where now you're enjoying the rewards, but you're delaying the gratification as well. So
man, that word keeps ringing. That delayed gratification, that keeps ringing, because that's something that's very, very important. If you can't wait for it, then what? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I question. Do you really value the end state? You know what I mean? Because it's almost as if you don't really believe that you're going to get there. I mean, if you can't wait for it, you don't. And there's some social issues. I mean, to be honest with you, because minorities, particularly black people, some of the things, at least in America, that we've experienced, we don't know if we're gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, man, I don't know. I'm trying to live for the day.
It's hard out here.
Yeah, but the problem with keeping that mindset and saying, well, I'm living for the day because I don't know about tomorrow, is that we keep waking up and living for the day. I mean, so tomorrow keeps coming. Tomorrow keeps coming, and we have not adjusted or changed anything.
Right.
And so we get into a cycle of rewarding our bad behavior, because every time we find a way out. Every time we got a friend, or we did a thing, or something, some manna fell from heaven, and so we continue on that path of bad poor financial behavior, because we're like, oh well, shoot, I'm still alive, I'm still happening, and it's subconscious. You don't even think about it.
You know what? It's like second nature.
Absolutely. And so you're actually sabotaging your own journey, because you refuse to discipline yourself to delay certain outcomes. So really, the question is, how much do you care about yourself, your future self?
Future self.
The self that you really, really, really want to evolve to and through. Like, how much do you value that person to delay some of the, just having a conversation with a lady about her child, and we were talking about children, and I, me and my wife have two beautiful boys, Christian and Ashley. Love you guys, and all we talk about is having businesses in our house.
I know that's right.
But I told her that my goal as a dad is to protect, provide, and prepare my children for life. And so sometimes the provider is at odds with the preparer, meaning that sometimes my preparation should be that I withhold something from them, or I discipline them in a certain way, to teach them a lesson, to help them build upon that. But the provider of me will want to give them everything that they want.
Wow.
And so
that's huge.
Yeah. And so what I have to do as the person who's ultimately responsible for their future selves, to a point, ultimately they have to live their own lives. But as the person who's preparing them, I have to make decisions that I feel are wise for the long term. And so I would say, how much would you care about your child? Enough to take them to the future self, like see the future them enough to not give them everything today, so that they can actually evolve to the person that you really see them becoming. And so you can do that for yourself. Say, how much do I care about my future self to not let the provider in me, to placate me and my emotions, and because I had a hard week, I'm gonna go and ball out this weekend, and spend, whatever, and then be broke up, broke out, whatever, on Monday, and so now you start you're on the hamster wheel again.
Right.
And so how much do you care about your future self to delay some things to where you can actually see the fruits of what absolutely, and it's so much more enjoyable when you can go and you can make a decision to get it and not pay attention to the price tag. So.
Well, right now we're going to see if you guys have any questions, and we're going to see if our studio audience has any questions while I fix this line. Do you have any questions for him?
I'm just going to be enjoying the exchange of value.
Well, phenomenal.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm having a watch party with me. We've got about 20 people that are joining me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I'm doing some discussion on Brady Powell said, value who you are. God made you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking about being able to create revenue
Right.
with a stream of with a system
Right.
that is foreign to most people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you think that it's something that the average person can involve themselves in and not be taken advantage of?
Absolutely, and that's why I believe in the self-education piece, primarily, educating yourself and learning that skill set, because it's something that when it's done properly, you can actually create that income stream for yourself and not be taken advantage of, because you control your money, you control the account. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, so there's no table. Maybe is it back here? No, I don't see it. I don't see it. Real time, get this. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
We're going to work this thing out, baby.
Yeah, very good. So, so to answer your question, it's something that people can learn, because it's no different than taking a computer course. You do with it what you will, but you will have the means to do what you want. And so I teach people through our courses, and they're online, self-paced, and we do what's called Money Day School every Monday night at 9 Central, where I go live and then actually answer questions and help people on their journey. But it's a real game changer, because you actually have the means to create whatever level of income you want for yourself within reason, based on what you can do. And the method that we teach you is built to do that, over and over again. So it's the biggest part for me is because I come from the financial industry. I know a lot of the inner workings of the stories and the paradigms that get shared with people. And most of those paradigms are not paradigms of which you can create it for yourself, because that doesn't pay the stockbroker, or it doesn't pay, the real estate guy or whatever that, wants you to partner with him to help him flip homes. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have to find your own path. This is no different than learning how to do real estate investment. Some people take that journey. I think it's simpler, and it takes a lot less capital to do it. But it's akin to that type of skill set. Once you learn it, you got it. And you build upon it. So for me, as a former stockbroker, I know that most people are not going to accomplish their financial goals, because I know what it takes to get there. And so for me, because I learned of a way to do that in a much shorter amount of time, and do it in a responsible way, I feel it's incumbent upon me to share with other people that you can do that as well. And if you want to invest in yourself, then that's the path that you should explore. Educate yourself about the opportunity, but then also take the next step if you find value to actually move on it. Don't be. Let's not sit here next year at another red table talk talking about what I could have done last year, while everybody else is celebrating their victory. So that's yeah. So it's realistic, and it's a different paradigm. It's much more attuned to the day than the yesteryear of working 40 years in any capacity and expecting to have anything. I just heard something on NPR yesterday about retirees of some company. The company's going bankrupt, and the judge approved that they no longer have to pay these people's health care. So the other question is, going back to personal responsibility. You've done everything that you can do, but then you're still relying on a corporation to provide your health care. And then they go out, they went out of business, and so now, they filed for bankruptcy, and so now the people have to provide for their own health care. So imagine yourself as a person who's on a quote unquote fixed income, retirement income, and then you have a major life shift, knowing that healthcare and education are two of the biggest, most expensive things we have going right now. And all of a sudden, your former employer tells you that we're not going to pay that big bill, one of the biggest bills you have in your house outside of a mortgage. In most cases, we're not going to pay that for you anymore. Now you need to go and create the extra $500 a month that you no longer have, that's guaranteed you will no longer have. How are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And if you find a way, that's great. But I'm telling you, there is a way, and it doesn't have to cost you or take you very much to do it. I mean, our course is set for you in 30 days or less to get through it all and start and become a practicing trader, to where in 90 days or less, you should be able to go in and open a live account and start trading money for yourself. Yeah. So we're talking 1 year or less, you should be in position to actually start seeing incremental growth. And I tell people, it's not about getting to the $1 million at first. Yeah. It's about overcoming that credit card bill.
Right.
So you got
the small stuff
it's
first.
a little thing.
Yeah.
And then the snowball effect takes hold, because you see the victories. You go from more believing to more knowing.
Yeah.
So now you go from, okay, I believe that this works, but I know it works because I've had this $3,000 credit card bill that I said I was going to pay off in a year. I said that 5 years ago.
Right.
And so I know I'm paying interest on this only, and it's hurting me.
Right.
It's hurting my credit, and it's hurting me in my pocket. So now I've created a means that even if I only made $100 a month using Forex. Now I have a game plan by which in about less than 3 years, 24 to 36 months, I can literally pay off that credit card where I had no game plan before because I didn't have an income to do it.
Right.
And so it's not about all the big money. It's about every dollar, every billion, every trillion, every quadrillion, every dollar starts with a penny.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
true.
So you got to stack those pennies, those victories with those pennies.
I was gonna say the small.
Yeah,
victories.
and then
it's the small.
and the
victories.
zeros come whenever when they come.
Well, that is awesome. Yes.
So, as an audience member, I'm seeing this sounds like it's so simple, but a blind dog with a numbers. There are some challenges and
Some ups.
risks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, with
But-
absolute risk. Yeah.
You're saying that the course that you're teaching will be able to enable a person to know the best practices.
Correct.
To be able to get the best results that
That's-
they're looking for.
That's exactly correct. It is built to is built to protect you. In a way that I can't protect you from your own mind. And before you arrived in the audience, we were talking about what are the dangers of Forex, and obviously I said the Forex is just like the internet. It is what it is. But what we bring to it is where the danger comes. So if you bring greed, or if you bring impatience, or you bring a lack of discipline, or if you bring the lack of desire to push through and do things in the way that you're supposed to do them, you bring your own chaos and disorder to it, and it can destroy you. I mean, and you can replace the word Forex with habits. So if you bring that to your habits, to your habitual life, it will destroy you. So it's not about the thing in and of itself. People are making plenty of money all over the world with this Forex trading, foreign exchange trading, but they don't. Most people don't have a system to use it in the U.S. because the U.S. is the lesser known. It's in Europe it's millions of people are trading, and there's probably the equivalent of a city municipality or a state municipality trading in America. So it's foreign to us because the paradigm that we get shared with us is save, invest, dollar cost average, do this. When the market goes down, buy more. Basically stay on the train with us. So we can keep getting our money, and maybe you'll get. Hopefully the bottom doesn't fall out before you retire. Hopefully you didn't retire. Your retirement year was in 2008 because everything you spent 40 years working for just went away in 12 months, and now you got half of that.
Yeah.
And now let's go see where you're gonna create that other half of that money. So that's what the Forex does. It allows you to position yourself to create that income for yourself at a fraction of the time. So the time leverage is just as important as the monetary gains that you get from it, because you can do it in alignment with where you are now. And so to answer your question, yes, I do. I've had a lot of physicians come to our live classes, but I'm talking about the online course now, but our live classes, I've taught people the smartest physicians, and sometimes a physician thinks they're the smartest people in the room,
Right.
and they've learned it from scratch. And so my best students have been people who knew nothing about Forex because they had no preconceived notions,
Right.
they had no poor habits to break, but we welcome everybody. I've got traders and non-traders in our classes now, in our online course, and I promise you, I think our best students that emerge are going to be the ones that never traded before, because you don't have to unlearn
That's probably
things.
it, too.
Yeah, you just have to just do what we ask you to do.
So give us that information. I'm sorry. Do you have another question?
Yes.
Okay.
So most of us novices
Sure.
look at Forex as a snake oil, as a hoax.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that the trading and the currency of foreign countries
Right.
will allow you to leverage your investment to the point where you can get a substantial return consistently.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Exactly. And that's how you systemically do it. If you do it in a systemized manner, you can create an income for yourself. I always recommend a build strategy first. You build and then you have a withdrawal strategy as well, because I believe that along the journey you should have rewards and you should have fruits of your labor. So I speak to that in that you create your own withdrawal plan. You build it up to a point. Give yourself a reasonable date. We talk about what we call SUSO-based goals. Excuse me. And so SUSO has like certain meaning, but the point is, if you use that system, it will allow you to be very laser focused about goal attainment. And because the biggest challenge that people have is not only having a means to accomplish the goal, but they never really plan for their goal.
That's
so
true.
And so if we can show you through Forex how to create what they call atomic habits, very small incremental gains. You can do it with large, when the zeros increase, you're doing the same thing. But if I can show you how to do it with the small zeros and start to remove the emotion that's tied to a dollar, and that's where most people get into trouble.
I was gonna say.
The emotion that you have that's tied to your money is what is actually the biggest thing that's keeping you captive. If you can release your emotion and say, okay, I am the creator, I am the author, I am the one in charge, I command my money, I have total personal responsibility and the ability to create. Now you can take that authority and use our system to help put money in its place. And I firmly believe that you can do that with our course. And I'm not talking about.
I love that.
Forever.
I absolutely love that.
So
you command your money. I love that.
Hey, I'm from Oak Cliff, Texas, guys. I'm not born, but raised. Yeah. So
I love that concept because we are emotionally attached to our money. We are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be clear. Not only the lessons that get driven into us by commercialism and so on and so forth, but if somebody posted something online yesterday and they had like a $5 bill and two $1 bills and a quarter. And they said, now, imagine if that's what somebody gave you after working for an hour. How would you feel, And so, there's some people working for that. And that's okay, because, legal work is noble. But what I'm saying is, of course, I'd be emotional if I had to work for an hour and earn $7.25. You know what I'm saying? And I had to stack up 10 or 12 hours to have enough to pay a bill. Yeah, I would be emotional about my money too. Yeah. And so it's time for you to take that back and not trade your money in such a one-to-one fashion. You have to leverage your time for more money, so that now you realize that money is just a concept. It's a concept, and once you release it to be that, you can create and have all the money you want, because the abundance is locked away in your self-defeating attitude and your self-defeating approach. My mentor, he passed away about a year ago. He was a member of a prominent family, and he would tell me when we had conversations all the time that people believe that time and money are the two most precious things we have, in addition to our health. And I said, well, time and ideas, he would say, time and ideas are the most valuable things we have. And then I took that phrase a little bit further and I said, well, a good idea can make you money, but a good idea that's well executed can make you all the money you could ever want. And so it's about really having the creativity and the mindset of going to create, and understanding that it's not about being captive and holding this thing in your hand to which you can't open it up to receive or to give. Right. You have to open it up and let it do what it's purpose for. And it's meant to do things. Right. It can be meant to grow, or you can give yours away and let somebody else grow it while they're taking yours. So you have to take charge of your money. Wow. And so I understand why people are emotional about it, but you have to shift your emotions and rethink your approach so that you can you take charge. You are the commander. You are God of your money. Money is not God of you.
I just love it. I just love it. If anyone online has any questions, please ask, because we got a few more minutes with this guru of financing. So
forexfam.com, forexfam.com is where you can go for Forex for Dads, where we started. Forex for moms, Forex for him, Forex for her. So if you don't have any children, you can still learn Forex. Matter of fact, the best time to learn is when you don't have any responsibilities. So, you got no less pressure, you got fewer people to answer to. You know what I mean? So
And how can they find you?
Okay, I'm on LinkedIn. Okay. We're on Facebook. FollowMyTrades.com. FollowMyTrades.com is our page. And we're on Instagram. Helpmade Millionaire is my handle, and we're on Twitter. FollowMyTrades.com. So pretty much we're social media. Anywhere if you're on social media, we can get you in touch with us. Or go to FM Trades. Our parent company is FM Trades with an S. FM like a radio station. Trades with an S.com. You can schedule time on our website to get a 15-minute conversation with me live.
Wow. I mean, this has been incredible. It's been incredible, and the reason why I wanted everyone to hear Kevin is because right now it's like you hear about trading you're hearing it big time now.
Right. Yeah, it's much different than when I started.
I mean,
Much
you
different.
hear
Yeah, it's
about
like an everyday
trading,
word. Yeah.
and I want you guys to be aware of what's happening because now the way it's looking. I mean, I know about these meetings that Donald Trump is having. President Donald Trump is having overseas and this and that, and this foreign exchange, foreign this. These terms you got to be aware of because there's some stuff going down.
Absolutely. It's a lot happening.
It's a lot happening.
If you're not taking charge of your financial life, whatever you choose to do, whether you choose to enroll in our online course or not, that's less relevant than you need to do something.
You need to do
because
something.
you can see that the tide is shifting every boat.
Yeah.
And so if you're not controlling or commanding your boat, then you're being tossed to and fro by the whims of madmen all over the world. I'll just say that. So, and women, so some madmen live with you. So they have to be across the
Okay, so I'm a person,
Yes.
and you got these classes.
Yes.
You got them online. You
Yes.
got them in person.
Right.
So I just got my income tax check, and I got $500.
Okay.
Okay. So what do I do
Okay.
if I want to?
You go to forexfam.com. You select what paradigm or what vein suits you. So if you're a dad, go to there's actually a tab that says Forex for Dads. You select that. We talk to you a little bit about what you can expect, and then once you enroll in the course, I take you as a beginner step by step through what Forex is, but really more important about how to use a trading platform. What are certain terms that you need to know? How do you actually take a trade? Everything from A to Z. If I was teaching you how to shine shoes, my course is set up for lesson 1 to be what is a shoe?
Wow, that's good.
And what is shoe polish, and how
That's
do you
really
take the shoe
good.
polish off and put it on the cloth and rub the shoe, and then once you get down that path, I teach you kind of like Karate Kid for people who are old enough or young enough to remember. The wax on, wax off. I talk about concepts that seem foreign to you, but I'm actually just building a foundation. To where when you get to the peak of that pyramid, you use all those things to create significant profits for your trade. So
That's really
so it's
good.
built on itself for you to be successful. I've got a student in Georgia right now in Augusta, Ray Shaw. I'm gonna shout you out because you've been one of my best students. He just signed up for Forex for Dads a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And he is blazing it up. He's sending in his homework because we have homework.
I know that's right.
This is real. This ain't just some fun thing. You go to meetings to get rah-rahed up, get geeked up, go follow a couple, get your screen all covered up with all this stuff and all these indicators, and you can't even see your screen and all that. No, we're teaching you a very simple way to go and live your life. And this guy has got a full-time situation going on, and he's blazing through it. And so that's my excitement.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I do it not only is obviously it's a business, but I love seeing people become successful. And particularly if I can have a hand in that, in a real way, I'm excited about what's going to happen. So,
Okay. And so the money is no limit. I mean, no max. So
Correct.
Or minimum.
No minimum. No.
No minimum.
Well, so you can conceivably start trading with $100. What I tell people is you want to start with at least 1,000, maybe 2,500 to be honest. But we can get to creating that money later. The point is we can. Wherever you are, we can work on a game plan that's suitable for you. So if you start with less than 1,000, it may take you a year or so more to be able to hit that stride the way you want to.
See the results.
I mean, you'll see results, but ones that we call you knew you were here results. You know what I mean? Like a result that lets you know that you knew you were here. There's no question that something happened. But it's okay because that's why you have to be okay with delayed gratification. I would just say, and I'm 44 years old, I would say to a 40-year-old man or a woman, 40-year-old human, if you have not been delaying gratification for 40 years, look at your life and see what it's gotten you. So what does it hurt for you to do something different and delay gratification for another 5 years so that the next 35 years or the next year after that or the next day after that, you can see your life the way that you wanted it to be.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. If you guys got any questions, let me know. We've got a studio audience member that has been asking some amazing questions. So hopefully you guys got those answers because I mean this has been awesome. Teaching you, showing you how you can maximize your dollar. How about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And the best education you get is the education that you give yourself for a practical thing. You
Yeah.
know, not
Yeah.
a cerebral
Practical.
thing. You say, okay, well, I went and I got my master's, and so now I get, maybe they'll give me $5,000 more, or maybe I'm no longer qualified for the job I was qualified for last week because now I spent $30,000-$40,000 on the master's or more, and
Man.
now I'm not hireable because I'm overqualified. You know what I mean?
And that's the case.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's
you're
legit.
over, you're under,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, you're too old and they won't say it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's unfortunate because that I have no challenge with education. I graduated from West Point. I'm a public school product. I'm from A to Z. So even college. So I'm not against education, but I just believe that everything should be purposeful. Everything that you do should have an end game. You know what I mean? And so if you go to get educated, the end game should be to get more money.
Right.
Or to put yourself in a position to do some things that leverage your talents or your time to create that. Because otherwise. You can go and create your own education when you got the money in the bank to go take these vacations. You know what I mean?
That's
and
true.
go see the stuff for yourself that people are putting in history books to tell you a story about that may not even be the truth. And so that's let's talk about real education.
And that's the thing. Let's talk about the facts.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
talk about the
Taking
real
care of
deal.
So take care of you incorporated. You got to do the CE courses are for you incorporated. The continuing education, the stand up to speed, how they make you with their real estate license that you only did one deal in the last 3 years. For that you got to keep paying your money to stay up to speed and to keep doing these educational courses so that they keep eating off of you. They keep taking your seed and investing it and making more money while you paying just to be in the game and you're not doing anything with it. So you have to leverage your education for an outcome.
For an outcome.
Yeah.
Leverage your education for an outcome.
Right.
That's good too.
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
too. So you've now been in the game.
Sure.
You said
For a while.
20 some odd years.
Yeah.
And
Just a little bit under 20. I
Okay.
ain't that old.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind. Hey, when I'm
Little
82,
bit
I
under
don't
20.
look as good as I do now. So.
But you don't look. Come on now. So now you're helping people.
Sure.
You're reaching back,
Right.
and that's awesome.
Right.
So what would be your takeaway for everybody that's watching, and they're on the edge of their seats,
Sure.
thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? I just got my income tax money.
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
In all seriousness, take stock of where you are. Take stock of where you want to be a year from now, and then invest in getting there. And I think the best way to invest in getting there is to invest in your education, in learning more about a thing that can help you change your circumstances financially. But most importantly, I think the best education is an education that teaches you about yourself along the way. And I promise you that in my journey, in my 10-year Forex journey, I've been trading Forex for over 10 years now, 11 years actually, and trading it full time for about 7 years. And so, so it works, but more importantly, it's the things that I learned about myself along the way, because I've gone through so many things personally and professionally on that journey. I don't think I would have been I'm pretty honest with myself, but I think Forex makes me more honest because some of the decisions I made in trading reflect where I was at that point in my life. And I had to, and so the personal responsibility piece is real. You have to say, okay, I'm responsible for these outcomes, ultimately.
Right.
And I think that's the most powerful gift that you can have, is to understand that you're ultimately in charge. You can ultimately, no matter what happens to you, you still have power. And that somebody needs to hear that. You still have power, no matter what's happened to you in your life, no matter what you've gone through in circumstances, no matter what it's looked like, whether it was you're doing or not as a child or whatever, you still have a chance. You're still here. You still have. You can be great tomorrow. You can be great right now. You have what it takes. You have what it takes to be successful. You have to just believe that you can. Use that belief to and put it on something that's reliable, so that you can know that you can, and then you just do it over and over again until you overcome those circumstances. I don't care how bad it is or has been. You can do it. You can do it. You can have a better tomorrow. You can have a better life. You can have better finances. You don't have to be in debt. You do not have to live the paradigm that they told you that you have to live. You do not have to go and work for it every day. You don't have to ride share for it every day. You don't have to tear your car up with people you don't want in your car to get this money. You know what I mean? Go get it. And when God sends you something, you say you pray for something, and then when God brings it to you, you want to question it or sabotage it yourself because you're afraid. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But you have to push through that fear and make a choice. So invest in your education. Don't sit here next year and have your friend come around and their life is changing financially, and you're like, well, why didn't you tell me? And it's like, well, I was watching the same webinar you was watching. I just went to the site.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
I just did something about it.
I just did the click.
Right. And
I just clicked.
Right. So you took that $500 and did a birthday party. You know what I'm saying? I took that $500 and invested in myself, and now I'm throwing a bigger party next year. You know what I'm saying? And I got the money in the bank. So I mean, I'm serious about that. Delayed gratification. That's the word. That's the phrase for the day.
Delayed gratification. Well, this has been an amazing session. Our first Red Table Talk Masters class. We've had Kevin Jefferson, a guru in training. And when we come to the table, I bring you the best. I bring you the best of the best, whether that's social matters, whether that's, critical matters or financial matters, relationship matters, whatever the case is. Red Table Talk Dallas is going to bring it to you. This is your hostess with the mostest,
Yes, she is.
Mona Lisa.
Yes, she is.
And if you guys got any comments, questions, whatever, make sure you post, like, and share. Thank you so much. Red Table Talk Dallas signing off. Have a good one.
God bless you. Love you,
Bye.
Forex family. Love you.
All right.
Forex family of traders. We got you.
Woo, woo.
Right.
Dude.